welcome to KY Talks. I am your host Trupta Kolgud Nadkarni. On this digital platform, we speak to entrepreneurs from various fields who tell us why they didn't want to be stuck in the typical 9 to 5 rut, but they wanted to do something different. They wanted to follow their passion and their heart. So one such successful entrepreneur we will be speaking with today is Mr. Vidyadhar Prabhudesai. He's the co-founder of LeadCap Ventures, which is a global research and consulting firm since the last 15 years. They have a strong presence in Asia, Africa, and Europe, where they engage with government, international institutions, as well as Fortune 100 companies regarding impact assessments, policies, research, and more, which basically helps them identify the best global supply partners for products and various services. So we are going to find out more about LeadCap Ventures in just a moment. Hello so much, Vidyadhar, and welcome to the KY Digital Platform. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Trupta, so much for the lovely introduction.
You're most welcome. So could you please tell us about LeadCap Ventures and also what was the motivation behind beginning LeadCap Ventures?
The journey of LeadCap started 15 years back when I started out along with my co-founder Sangeet Verghese.
Okay.
So he's based out of Bangalore and I'm based out of here in Mumbai. When we started out as LeadCap Ventures, it was earlier called as Diffusion as an organization. Okay. We renamed it a few years later.
Okay.
The reason behind is in terms of when we were researching upon what exactly a product or a service to offer, we realized that in the consulting or the research space, there are top organizations. You have an KPMG, you have a PwC or a Deloitte at one area, and then you have a group of research organizations that such as Kantar or a Nielsen or an Ipsos at a different level. But there is nothing offering, and then there is an unorganized market also, and then there is nothing unique that each of these groups are offer. So we thought, let us look at a youth segment altogether. So that time when we started out, youth was the key. As today, the teens are the key. That time the youth was the key. So everything was focused around youth. So we thought that let us start and offer a product which studies the youth in detail. So we started out as a youth research agency. We started out conducting something called as Voice of Youth, a program where we partnered with a lot of institutions, colleges, universities. We appointed youth ambassadors in colleges who helped us collect data, various points of data, which talked about how is the day in daily life of the youth, so be it in terms of their daily routine part of it, their studies, their career plans, their aspirations. What kind of brands do they get attracted to? What kind of products do they attracted to? Why they follow certain politician or a celebrity? What sport do they follow? What are their preferred hangout points? All these things which are prominent in the youth mind. We were discussing. We discussed and focus on research on that.
Okay.
That helped us to come up with something called as a Voice of Youth, and we started a Youth Explorer a tool itself, which most of the companies started attracting to. A company like a Cafe Coffee Day got attracted and started to understand a youth segment in detail. Several mobile brands wanted to target youth. They started using our data. That's how the journey of LeadCap started. So we were focused on youth at point of time. We conducted studies only for youth. That's where our journey started.
Okay. That is wonderful. So you already told me about LeadCap, but like why you told me you wanted to target the youth, but like what was the motivation behind starting out something of your own?
decide starting something of my own, the motivation actually comes much before that. So there is a story, interesting story behind it. I was when I was graduated, I started working in a corporate. So I worked in a couple of corporates before, and one fine day when I was in my annual vacation, I happened to be at my home, and I have a younger brother also. So he was at that time during his college, and he was doing some project of his college. So typical charting and all those things he was doing. And then I told him, why is he doing this way, where he can use a computer, he can just cut paste good graphics and get the project done. Then he told me an interesting anecdote. So he told me that if I do things the same way my other students or other his classmates are doing, then what is the difference in between them and him? So that kind of triggered me, and that actually intrigued me in terms of what can I do differently and what different things I can do. So I went back to the drawing board. I started out not immediately, but I started to make a difference in lives of people where I'm associated with. So I was doing a corporate job, and then I started working with their what you call is corporate social responsibility team of there, which works with underprivileged students, and I started teaching computers to the underprivileged students. That gave me an idea of starting up something into a space which is called recruitments, where I can help these underprivileged people to get jobs, and how exactly they can look at presenting themselves with interviews and all. Unfortunately, what happened is that when I started out, there was a bigger recession that happened, and actually my first venture got bust. In fact, I actually lost everything that I had done, and then I joined a management program just to salvage the situation. And then I thought, let me get back to my job track. Probably I may not be an entrepreneur in my lifetime, but something different things happen again. I got placed in an organization, but being an entrepreneur is always an entrepreneur. You will never settle down so easily. Again, then I started working on the idea. Then I had a met up with Sangeet, and then that's how the LeadCap started.
Oh, okay, that's wonderful. And I think somewhere, it was just meant to be, because you had such a strong passion, so you really wanted to be an entrepreneur, and you didn't let anything deter you. So I think that's a very wonderful story. So I do want to ask you, what is it about this field that, gives you a sense of accomplishment, or in common terms, a kick? You chose the absolute right profession, starting from the Voice of Youth and, onwards.
So. I would not say I have accomplished so much as such that I am in content of it. Yes, I am trying different things right now. One of the things I was passionate about is working in an international organization. For example, I was in my second year BCom, and in that time, our economics professor introduced us to institutions like United Nations, World Bank, the World Economic Forum. Probably that kind of aspired me to get a work over there. However, I didn't have any right means so that I can approach this institution or apply over there. I didn't know. There was nobody else to guide me. Probably I thought I may not get a chance to work over there ever. But now, since over the last 15 years, since I am with the LeadCap Ventures, we engage with such international institutions day in and day out. So these are an integral part of your life. So we work with several studies with these institutions now. So that is one kind of accomplishments I can say. This venture also gives us to work with different kinds of organizations. So I work across sectors. So probably industries that probably I wouldn't have thought of. I end up working with them, and we work with people across designations across levels. So, for example, one of the meetings I had was with the president office itself. So of country Zambia. So we have office in Zambia also now. So I had a engagement with that. So we deal with such top level people, something which I would not expect otherwise to happen.
Right, right. Wonderful. And like you said, you wouldn't have thought, but just the scope of getting to interact with so many people and getting to know everybody's experiences, I think that really is amazing. So, like any venture you start, and you did mention about this, previously, what were some of the challenges or the barriers that you faced, or, the obstacles you faced while starting out with LeadCap Ventures?
Okay, challenges and obstacles are still there. It is not that it is gone forever. So, there are several challenges for any startup. First is you actually need to convince your customer that you are the people that can that are the right for their needs. So it was very difficult since we do not have any history of working in the research or a consulting industry. Though we had working experience with the multinationals, but that wasn't enough to get us a client. So we need to be very convincing enough in terms of getting our first client. In fact, we got our first client after 1.5 years. Who commissioned us an independent research part of. Otherwise, we were continuing only with the Voice of Youth product only. So convincing was definitely a challenge. Then second challenge is basically to understand, to have multiple rules of or streams of businesses. So for example, we started also an international team. So there we had a dedicated team who we have a dedicated team who works with international institutions and looks at research organizations or any consulting company who wants to outsource a work to us. We targeted them and got the work done so that we could help them with the cost effectiveness, being a cheaper source of destination as such. So this is the second challenge in terms of how exactly you put your revenue streams into multiple baskets and not rely on a single basket. Third thing in terms of challenges, basically in terms of attracting and retaining talent. So being a new organization, not everybody is aspirational to work with, because the kind of salaries you offer are not really competitive with as far as the market salaries are concerned. You need to make sure that you are retaining them each time so that your own risk of people are gone, because research being a people it's highly dependent on people, because we require quality people to work on research, to work on reports, to work on analysis. So we need to make sure that we are attracting right talent and make sure that retaining talent is so. This is the third challenge that we still face today. However, said that we do over the 15 years time, we are able to capture that kind of a market so that people are attracted towards us. So that is somewhat waved off kind of a thing. Yeah.
Right.
So these are some challenge. There are several challenges in terms of how exactly to pitch to the client, how exactly to negotiate. These things go on and on. This is a daily task or a challenge of any startup that is there.
Right, absolutely. And like you said, right, it's an ongoing process. It's an ongoing challenge, and you learn new things every day. You're ready to adapt, and you kind of move with that. And it speaks for itself. Yes. Because you all have been around for more than 15 years, which in itself is very impressive. So, Vidyadhar, what at this point do you think is required from you all to, reach your business aspirations or your business goals at LeadCap?
In terms of the reach business goals such as, yes, this is a tough time. I would be honest that we actually lost a lot of clients and businesses for the year. We still don't know what would come in the next year, because for this year we are sure that there may not be that recoup that can happen. So what we are trying to do is that we are trying to identify alternate source of revenues. It is not just research or consulting space, because most companies have already cut down their budgets on marketing and research. So we are the first hits to be taken. So people tend to in this tough situation, if we were to cut expenses, research, consulting, and marketing kind of budgets are the first one to be axed. So the X has come first on us, and has forced us to think differently. So that's how a lot of streams of revenues have emerged. We are trying to identify us or position ourselves as a company who can do good due diligence on identifying and matching supply and demand for various products. So we have been working with several governments internationally as well as locally in India, and help them to identify various products. So be it COVID-19 related products, including things like nitrile gloves or masks or sanitizers or ethanol, all those things, or even medical drugs such as azithromycin or paracetamol. We have been working with several international governments and trying to help them to identify right kind of a partners. So this is a new stream that we have identified. We have also identified ourselves to work with areas such as mergers and acquisitions, where we are trying to help people to work out, identify partners who can help them in their organizations, such as in tough times. So probably if somebody wants to work with a client and offer their company or their company stake to somebody else so that they could partner together, we help them in doing this acquisitions as well. So these are some of the streams that we have identified and we are trying to work on over there. So success will come later on as we progress. Right now, they are just trials and errors is what are happening.
Absolutely, and that's what, you being an entrepreneur, I think you're so used to that trial and error and keep trying till eventually you succeed. And like you said, for the COVID-19, the be it gloves or azithromycin or any medical supplies, that is the need of the hour right now. So, actually I did see your website, and on that, under case studies, one of the, what was mentioned was Bengaluru International Airport. So, could you tell us a little bit more about that what you all did?
Okay, so Bangalore International Airport, when it was privatized, so as in 2008, 2009, we have been engaging with them since then. So it is almost 12 years that we have been working constantly with Bangalore International Airport. We have helped them in terms of increasing their passenger traffic. So currently, before COVID, they were annually 35 million passengers had footfalls of that. And when we started out, they were close to about 7 or 8 million per year. So over the last 10, 12 years, we've actually helped them grow about 4 to 5 times in terms of improving their traffic itself. Not just that, we are also helping them to improve their non-aero revenue. So if you understand the civil aviation and airports space, there is revenue which comes from the airlines which are operating from the airport, and there's a non-aero revenue. So for example, this could be from services that you consume at the airport. It could be food, it could be lounge, it could be any other product that you're buying, such as any retail shopping that you're doing from duty free or any non-duty free purchase. So this adds on to the non-aero revenue aspect. So we help the airport to attract brands which could help improve their non-revenue revenue. So we work with the commercial teams to help maximize these commercial aspects of it. Then third, we also work with the airport services also as such. So for example, there is a flybus which goes from Bangalore airport to various parts of the state. So it goes to Mangalore, it goes to Mysore, it goes to towards Coimbatore. These are the areas which are close to the airport, and this is how we help them to improve their catchment areas through starting of a flybus. So we studied where all the the passengers come from to the airport, and then devise a strategy in terms of how exactly we can address them, and how exactly we can make sure that the footfall comes to Bangalore. So that's how we help them in terms of launching separate services. So there could be such other services such as your luggage drop. So if you have a flight to catch, and you don't want to carry your luggage, you can drop it to a nearby pickup point, and it goes up from there to directly to the airport. Okay. So that's how these services get attractive, so that you don't carry your luggage with you, so you can go without it. So it's a hassle-free check-in for you.
Right. One thing less to worry about. You can travel a little hassle-free.
Yeah.
So, wow,
yeah, and what we're also noticing is that instead of post-COVID, what we're noticing is that there's a significant shift in the passenger profiling of the airports itself. So since we work with most private airports, including Bangalore Airport, the profile of the profiles of the passengers are shifting. Earlier, people who were business travelers and senior employees and people who were of the affluent class were traveling, but now post COVID, it is the lower set of people have started traveling and taking flights. So it's a complete change as far as the passenger demography is concerned, and the airports are struggling to address in terms of how exactly they can retain and improve their revenues with this kind of people traveling now.
Absolutely. And like you said, so much, like from small things like luggage to, buses, everything, it's very impressive, and a lot of research has been done with that. So I think that is amazing, which I want to ask you my next question, that how has LeadCap Ventures changed you? What changes has it brought about in you?
Okay, LeadCap Ventures, how it has changed me. I'm not changed much in terms of behavioral aspects, but yes, there are certain things that has actually improved me. When I was in school or college, I was most shy boy kind of a person, but being an entrepreneur has changed the complete dynamic of it. I'm still an introvert, but my daytimes job makes me completely extrovertish, and I'm right on ground talking and negotiating and influencing things to get things done out. So this is a kind of a change, but this is a day change that because of the job that I deal with. In terms of the inner person part of it, it actually made me more humble. So as and when I'm looking at my 15-year journey with LeadCap Ventures, I started learning more things while observing things out. So I keep open to learn things from people who are very junior in the system, people who are actually helping us to collect information. So these are our interviewers, the field interviewers and supervisors who are there. I learn a lot from the clients that I serve to. Every single research or exercise study that we execute, there is a lot of learning that has opened. So working in this dynamic organization has helped me to remain humble and to remain open to learn.
Open to learning. Very well said. And like you said, it's these values like humility and being grounded that take you far. And so finally, Vidyadhar, I would like to ask you, what are some of the words of wisdom, or what advice would you like to give to the upcoming and budding entrepreneurs out there?
I've been asked these questions by many people. What advice do I have for younger generation who want to be entrepreneurs? I may sound very negative as such, but there are two sets of entrepreneurs which I understand from whatever little I know. The first set of entrepreneurs are the ones who are probably created because they have faced a certain problem as such. So it could be anything, they are not happy with their jobs, or it could be any problem that they've noticed, then they went ahead and solved a part of it. So those are the people who are actually driven and they understand the life of an entrepreneur. The second category of entrepreneurs are the ones which are created by the media and the venture capitalist kind of thing, who probably are the wrong entrepreneurs, I say, or their mindset is not correct. They think that entrepreneurship is about raising money and having the higher valuations and getting in the media always and getting awards and all those things. So which is something which is according to me is not correct. So if you are a person who belong to the first category, okay, probably that is a way you can look at being an entrepreneur. But again, for being an entrepreneur, it is not about you only. Okay, it is about the ecosystem which is around you.
True, very
okay, so you need to have a very strong and supportive ecosystem around you to survive. So your ecosystem would be comprised of your parents. If you're married, it's your wife, your children.
Right.
Everything in and around you should be supportive enough in terms of helping you to sail through your journey. An entrepreneur, they say that they are self-made people, but I would say they are not actually self-made. They are made by people in and around them. So I always give a credit to my parents and to my family who have been supportive in terms of to me in terms of whatever I do. I left a job without any other thing in hand, and I didn't even have a plan what to start and how to start and how to do. What I ended up starting became a massive failure. Parents helped me out, bailed me out in terms of helping me with an education loan, which could which helped me to get a degree. Then with that, I thought probably they thought I would get back to jobs again, but I didn't go. I went ahead and became entrepreneur again. So you need to have a very strong, the point is that you need to have a very strong supportive ecosystem for one another. And if you do not have it, I would suggest do not take the risk of being over there, because the pressures are so much that you cannot imagine. I remember a couple of years back, then when there was a change in law, I was struggling for a couple of months to make sure that my employee salaries are paid. So there was a complete crash lunch, and I really had a tough time in terms of how actually do I manage. And even today, with our business completely washed out because of the pandemic that has happened, there's no complaints as such. But yes, there are tough times that comes to us. In fact, we are the people who take the hit first, rather than making sure that our employees are not supported. So whatever's happening, we make sure that we take our cards. So we make sure that we lower our salaries part of it, so that our employees are not getting the hit of it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that's very well said. Like, you want to be category 1, not the one who just focuses on the gloss and that part of it.
Absolutely. Because category 2, probably if you see now, where are these people? Okay, where are the higher values coming on? Where is the funding coming from? Where is the news? It's completely washed. So it is actually this pandemic has created entrepreneurs to focus on the basic.
Yeah.
Focus on your EBITDA, focus on your sales, focus on your bottom line. Yeah. Focus only on that. Only then you will go to survive.
Very true and very well said. And like you said, a support system is necessary, because there will be days when you just don't have motivation. But if you have your family and your near and dear ones, they can help lift you up. So and make you, like, motivate you, so to speak. So,
yes.
Thank you so much, Vidyadhar. It was a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for coming on the KY digital platform and talking to us. And we want to wish you all the very best for LeadCap Ventures. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.